Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a brand new horror video, and it's not a horror movie review, but it's going to be for a tag that was inspired by two YouTubers, I mean, who also did this kind of tag. It's called, and it's going to be called the Horrobles tag, where it's going to be for, this one is going to be, section is going to be for a worst certain genre, I mean, no, genre, worst certain kind of horror film question, or for worst category. So yeah, that's gonna be it. So with that being said, this video is inspired by the Nightwatch Zone and HorrorMetal, aka Lord Hellhound. So it's gonna be for my Horrobles tag, for the Horrobles I would choose for my tag. Alright, let's get started. So, the first one is, first horrible category would be worst werewolf movie. I don't know, I don't really watch werewolf movies, but I guess if I would have to pick one, it would probably have to be, worst werewolf movie would be Cursed, from 2005. It was directed by Wes Craven. Ugh. That film is just awful. Every single way, like, it is so badly filmed. Like, the production was notoriously bad too. I mean, when Wes Craven made this movie, he hated doing every minute of it. He was miserable during production. The Weinstein Company kept changing kept changing what he wanted to do. He originally wanted it to be an R-rated movie, and it wanted to star a different cast. But then Weinstein Company went behind his back, and they changed the whole damn thing, and they ruined it. The end. Yeah, they repeatedly kept changing no matter what Wes tried to do. Weinstein would always come in, find any way to break into production, and add in his stupid ideas. So, guess what we got? We got a Wes Craven werewolf movie that's basically just Scream with werewolves. Yes, this movie is literally just frickin' Scream with frickin' werewolves in it. Like, if you just watched, like, yeah, it's literally the same damn movie as Scream. Like, if you watched Scream and Cursed back to back, you'll notice they're literally just similar, except with a different, except Scream's a slasher movie, Cursed is a werewolf movie. And what's more, Cursed is rated PG-13. Yeah, so basically, it's a PG-13 version of Scream, except with werewolves. That's what it is. Alright, next one. Worst recent bad horror movie. Now, there are quite a few. I mean, like, there are quite a few bad recent horror movies I've seen, like Brightburn. I did not like Brightburn. Let's see. I don't really like Black Coat's Daughter. That one was pretty boring. Didn't like Three from Hell. I didn't like Victor Crowley. But let's just pick one. Only one can be for this category. And if I had to pick one, it would have to be Antebellum. Yeah. Antebellum was this, like, horror movie about this slave plantation, like, park with black slaves that came out last year on streaming when the COVID pandemic hit and ruined its chances of going to theaters. Well, I actually wanted to give this movie hope since it's from one of the producers of Get Out, and I saw the movie, I was wrong. No, it was just a terrible movie. It was like, it was too racist, too violent, like, it felt way too violent at times, and it kind of felt too much like the concept of Saw at times. Except with a slave park, reenactment park of the Civil War, so yeah. Antebellum would have to be the most recent bad horror movie, but there are a lot of ones I've seen. Okay, worst Stephen King adaptation. Oh, I think this is a pretty easy one, Dreamcatcher. Ugh, God. I've only saw Dreamcatcher once, and it's garbage. That's probably one of the worst horror movies I've seen. That is by far the worst Stephen King adaptation ever. I only saw the movie once, and I never saw it again. It's just so bad. Like, it's so stupid. It's probably the most unintentionally hilarious ever. Like, the acting is pretty atrocious, too. It's like, it's just crap. Avoid it. Alright. Worst part 2 of a horror franchise. Whew. That's pretty hard to count. Like, I have so many bad ones I've seen. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2, Rage Carry 2, The Ring 2, I hate, The Grudge 2. There's just so many bad ones out there. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Dream... No, not Dream Wars. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge. I get the titles mixed up, guys. So... But, however, let's just better we just pick 2 for this list. My top 2 most hated part 2s of a horror franchise would have to be Exorcist II: The Heretic. Like, since it was less said about the better, it was apparently filmed by a guy who didn't even see the original movie, so that explains a lot. I've ranted, I've been in my worst horror sequels, it's the #1 worst horror sequel to me, and I don't want to talk about it. Can we please just move on? And my other most hated part 2 of a horror franchise would have to be Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. Ugh, God. Cabin Fever 1 was hilarious. Probably an underrated cult gem. Eli Roth's greatest work. Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. Ugh, what an ugly, disgusting, vomit-inducing sequel. Like, I could not sit through Spring Fever. I mean, Cabin Fever... Spring Fever was just so gross. I almost wanted to turn it off. Like, Cabin Fever 1, I get Cabin Fever 1 was gross, but at least it wasn't vomit-inducing. At least some of the gross stuff was actually funny. And it was actually better directed, and it actually seemed like it was made by people who cared. Like, yeah, it's coming from a gorehound such as me. I can sit through films like Hostel, I can sit through Devil's Rejects, I can sit through Irreversible. Even I could sit through freaking RoboCop. I can sit through Saw even, without wanting to throw up. I can stomach those movies just fine. But this movie, ugh, God, this was just gross. This one almost came close to making me want to throw up, and no, not because the movie was terrible, not because of the bad acting. This is because of the gore. Yeah, like let's just be all nasty with the gore and stuff. Like, let's have, like, a pus leaking out of the bodies, of close-up even. Let's have this gross ending, strip club patron that got infected, and it was, like, around the end of the movie. This patron, who was literally 16, by the way, had gotten infected with that flesh-eating virus, and went to the strip club, and, ugh, I don't want to go anywhere else, because she works there, by the way, but I don't want to go there, but... Whatever, I could go on, but I'll explain more of it when I make an angry review of this movie, because I will, but it's just gross. It's disgusting, the end of it. Alright, worst final girl. I think this might be an easy one. It would have to be Sarah from Halloween Assurrection. I call that, I know it's called Resurrection, but I prefer to call it Assurrection, because it's a better name for it. Ugh. Probably the stupidest final girl to replace Laurie Strode, but she's not the only final sole survivor of the film. There's actually 2 sole survivors. There's the final girl, which is Sarah, and then there's the stupid character of Busta Rhymes, who also survives for some reason. Even though Michael should have killed his ass. In fact, Michael Myers should have killed both their asses, but no, apparently she somehow ends up winning against Michael Myers, who doesn't even bother to try to kill her. Because he's just so stupidly portrayed in this film, but... I mean, yeah, the final girl from Freddy vs. Jason's also pretty weak, but this one would be the worst for me. She's just so dumb. Alright, worst horror movie mother. I'd have to say Nancy's mom from Nightmare on Elm Street. The original. She's unsupportive of her daughter. She basically keeps her daughter locked in her house, like that's going to protect her from Freddy, and it also prevents her from being able to save Glenn, who ends up dying, gets killed by Freddy, so basically, yeah, in a way, Nancy's mom caused Glenn's death, and yeah, she's just a horrible character. She's probably the worst character in that movie. Alright, worst horror villain. This would have to be one from a movie I've bashed many times. that I just go on and on about how I hate. It would have to be Gary Dexter from 2007's Captivity. Here's why. His motives suck. He's basically another carbon copy John Kramer. Well, I'm gonna get to it. At first, when he's introduced, he's just another captive. He's another captive in the room with the main lead female character, the model. And at first, we're supposed to view him as another victim. We're supposed to be relieved that she's not alone, but how he talks and how he acts, and he just looks like, yeah, he just has a grumpy face the whole movie. You can just tell this guy's the villain. It's way too obvious. It's not even shocking when you find out he's the villain because you already just know it. You can just tell he acts way too creepy whenever he's around her, and then his motivations for kidnapping girls are dumb as hell. Him and this obese brother of his kidnap these famous girls, lock them up, subject them to fake torture methods, try to get laid with them, and then kill them when they're done. That's literally all he does. Yeah, so basically it's like, oh, how can I get laid? I'll just kidnap some random girl, make them mine for 4 days, and then I'll just kill them when I get bored and keep doing my usual business. That's his motives. That's literally what he does. Which is probably dumb, which probably makes him a dumb villain. Alright. Worst horror remake. I just hate about a lot of them. I could go on and on about them, but there are quite a few prime examples. Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, The Wicker Man 2006, and Cabin Fever 2016, and like there's just a lot, but I'm just gonna keep it down to one, and that is of course Psycho 1998. Pointless, not needed, just lazy shot for shot. Just the original 1960 Alfred Hitchcock film in color and with different actors. Plus, Vince Vaughn is miscast as Anthony Perkins. He just makes... No, I mean, as Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins did him way better. He even made Norman Bates look innocent. You never knew he was evil until the very end, and it worked. Here you kind of just know he's evil, because Vince Vaughn already makes him look very untrustworthy, and you already can just tell he's already evil, so... Just by his performance, he doesn't even look like an innocent person. He just looks like a bad guy. Alright. Worst horror movie kill. Okay. I forget which one specifically, but all the ones in this one are terrible, so I have to say every single kill from Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. And you want to know why? They're all just basically Looney Tunes styled kills, and they're just uncreative. They're just so bad kills, you can't help but laugh at how stupidly written they are, and how much it makes Freddy look like an idiot. Like, that whole movie just makes Freddy Krueger look like an idiot. And if that was the movie that ended the franchise and no more films got made, I'd be pissed if that were the last Freddy movie that ever got made. But thank God New Nightmare subverted that, because there's no way Nightmare on Elm Street would end on a stupid note like that. But yeah, all the kills from that movie suck. Alright. Last worst category. Worst horror movie franchise for me. Alright. Here it goes. And I'm probably going to get hate for this, because I know this franchise somehow has fans. Paranormal Activity. That's my most hated horror movie franchise. Okay, the first one I guess was okay, but really, really overhyped. It was barely even... People, around like the time I was in high school, people were like, oh my god, this is the scariest movie I've ever watched. This movie scared me to death. And then I watched it like, come on, people. Like, come on. I've seen scarier than this. Like, all of this is just rich people living in a big house, install these cameras, and then film themselves just going to sleep, and then some crazy stuff happens. Yeah, they're basically just nighttime cams. In a theater. Yeah, like... And they just get worse and worse and worse each movie. Like, Paranormal Activity 2 was bad. Paranormal Activity 3 was also bad, but slightly better, but still terrible. Paranormal Activity 4 was just absolute garbage. Marked Ones was just a boring movie. Really boring. And Ghost Dimension, I went and saw Ghost Dimension in the theaters, and that one was just a real piss off. After that movie ended, it was like, okay, that franchise is dead. It's had its run. No more of these, please. No. They're making another one. Yeah, they're going to make another one next year. So Paranormal Activity is actually not dead. Oh my god. But then again, a Saw could continue. And apparently this can. Because remember, in Hollywood, there's no ending to a franchise. No matter how much money it makes, Hollywood will eventually milk it again years later. That's how Hollywood is with horror movies. Alright, and that's it for my Horrobles tag. I want to know in the section below what your Horrobles list would be. And until then, that will be it for this video. Thank y'all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.